Hey, Tobias here, and today I want to talk about the state of brand consulting. More specifically, I want to talk about the unsustainable state of brand consulting. That's how I see it. Now, brand consulting has been my love for about 15 years of my life, although in the past 4 to 5 years, I've defined myself more as a business growth strategist than a brand consultant. Brand consulting is really where I came from. I've certified well over 100 brand consultants. I've helped hundreds of brand consultants, and I just love the whole industry. And I'm concerned about the industry. I'm concerned about the fact that so many people come into this space because it's been really cool. It's been a great idea or ideal for a lot of people to come into brand consulting. And I want to talk a little bit about why I believe that's a problem and why a lot of people in this space are now struggling to make a living. And I want to talk about a solution to that problem. And so I think what's going on, and I think you've seen it if you're in the space, is that a lot of people, particularly from the creative fields, from designers, graphic designers, and people in the creative fields have wanted to sort of move up the value chain, if you will, to have more impact, to have more influence, to do great work, which is natural, and of course something I would encourage anyone to do, is to get to a place where you can kind of charge clients more, have more fun, and have more impact. And I think that's what's going on. A lot of people realize that design and other creative categories within branding, let's say the more executional side of branding, becomes very commoditized in a network world, in a world of Fiverrs and Upworks and so forth. And it's hard to make a living as a graphic designer or a creative. Now, the only issue is that a lot of people come into the space and they apply this label of brand strategist or brand consultant without really having the experience, and I would even maintain the understanding of what the profession is really all about. And so I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, by the way. I'm here to offer a solution which I believe will fix a bit of this problem, this whole kind of saturated, over commoditized space, which now we could call brand consulting, which isn't really what it, I think, used to be. And so let's first define what brand consulting is. In my book, at least, brand consulting is essentially about helping companies build and leverage brands as a means to solving business problems and to grow their business. And this is where, this whole industry, for the most part, gets it wrong, I believe. And that's the fact that a brand consultant is here to solve business problems, to help businesses grow by, leveraging, by building brands. And building brands is not something you do just for the sake of building a brand. It's really to serve business. And I think a lot of people in this space don't really have the business acumen, the understanding of business strategy. And so when they get into the world of brand consulting or brand strategy, they're actually working in a subset of brand consulting, which is brand communications. It's all about finding a different way to say something, or finding a tagline, or finding a differentiating idea, but driving it through only through means of communication, visual and verbal communication, to saying something different. But to build brands in today's world, especially brands that involve services or more complex kinds of brands than just something you slap a name on and drive it through campaigns and some packaging, it takes a whole organization. You need to find a differentiating idea that can become the organizing principle of a whole company or whole brand. And that takes working with people across a lot of different disciplines within the client organization. So product development or innovation, HR, communications, leadership. There's all this need to educate people, to inspire and empower people to get behind a bold and differentiating idea. And so, brand building is this very complex strategic thing that most people take for something visual and something very much driven through communications. And I'm sure you're aware of this, but I want to use that as kind of a starting point from our argumentation. And so I think what's going on right now is we have this industry with so many players, and we're like completely saturated, and we're completely commoditized as well. And that kind of impacts the industry and what it means to be a brand strategist and brand consultant in a negative way. It kind of pulls back the potential value of brand consulting, where I'd like to see brand consulting up there with management consulting, with business consulting. We deserve to get paid what we deserve, which is like brand consulting at its best. It's about transforming a whole business. It's about coming up with a great new vision, a new direction. It's about innovating. It's about simplifying. It's about getting people to say yes, to choose your brand or a brand over another one, right? So it's a hugely valuable thing. Yet most people in this space, because they lack the experience, they lack the confidence, because of that, they price themselves so low that it's really hurting the industry. But more importantly, I would say it's really hurting the people. And so again, like I said, I mean, my message here is to come up with a solution and not to hate on people for coming into this space. Actually, the contrary, I love this space and I want more people to come into it, but I hope that they get well educated and they see what this industry is really all about. It's about combining analytical skills, strategic skills, research, insights, this kind of, call it left brain activities, with creativity, with vision, with style, and all those things that come with it. But essentially, it's really about getting people to buy into an idea, to inspire them, to empower them, to get them to embody an identity. And that takes a lot of skill, a lot of work. And in brand consulting, that's why I love it, is because it's so complex and it's hard. And you basically get to be the person who's trying to pull together all these different parts. So I think in educating and training and in equipping people, with skills for brand consulting, we have to get people to become practitioners. And that's what I've been for 15 years of my life. And I was somebody who consumed pretty much everything I can get my hands on. All, stuff, my favorite of all, Marty Neumeyer, of course, who doesn't love his stuff. In addition, I think to be a well-rounded strategist and brand consultant, you have to read your Michael Porters. You have to read about strategy. You have to read Peter Drucker. All these kind of classic business strategy and management consulting to really understand where brand consulting sits in the bigger scheme of things. And I think that's where people kind of miss out. And they miss out on playing at the higher levels of the game. I think if you're a brand consultant and if you're not successfully, let's say charge $20,000 a month in brand consulting, you're not really in the game. You're doing something wrong. You're not pricing yourself right. You're not really attracting the right customers. There's something is off. And I would claim that 99% of people are not there. And I'd love to be able to solve that. And that's what we're trying to do with Original Minds, which I'll talk about a little bit. So there are these problems, and I think it's, people love to see themselves in the game of brand consulting. They like everything that comes with it. They like the whole world, the creativity, the strategy, all that, and then they follow a lot of these people in this space that are teaching and training brand consultants. And I got to be careful here because I have been one of them. So I'm either part of the problem or the solution. What I can say I don't want to say it in my defense, but and hopefully I'm not going to offend everyone. But most of the people in this space have actually not been real brand consultants or brand strategists in the sense that I mean, like solving business problems, going to boardrooms, facing the board, facing the CEO, facing the leadership teams, taking the heat, trying to really navigate that space. And I can see that just from the way that brand consulting is taught, because the tendency is to speak a big game and talk about the need for differentiation and bold ideas, and it's all right. There's nothing wrong with that per se, but I just ask how many of the people who are shouting these things have been in those boardrooms and seen the reality of trying to get an organization to actually get behind these ideas and to really execute and build the brands. And so I think there's a huge gap there, and it's part of the problem. I think people mean well And I think most people who are teaching and training consultants in this space, I think they're genuine, but a lot of them come from brand communications and they have never really played the bigger game. And so I think, if we think about where that leaves, potentially you or anyone who feels like you're not getting the share of the business that you want and the income and the whole kind of lifestyle and, the whole kind of experience of brand consulting, the chances are that you are struggling to get clients, struggling with credibility. You might feel a bit alone, and you might just feel like it's not really working out, and the whole dream of becoming a brand consultant is not really working out. Maybe in reality, you're continuing to be a copywriter, designer, or doing more of the executional work. I've worked with hundreds of people in this space, so I know this to be true. Actually, very few that hit the top 1% where you really need to be if you want to be a significant player in brand consulting. So what's the solution? Well, the solution that I'm betting on is through the global collective that we're building. At the time that I'm recording this, we're 4 months into it, and we have great brand consultants around the world in a community, in a collective. But the vision is not limited to brand consultants. And the reason for that is, if you think about the opportunity that you have, again, as a strategist, as a consultant, it's to go and solve bigger problems for clients around the world or wherever you want and sell them on bigger solutions. And to do that, you can build a 7-figure business by yourself through a model like this, the Original Minds model. We call it the boundless model, where you can bring in other experts and collaborate with them. So for example, as a strategist, I might want to bring in a trend researcher. I might want to bring in other research people, definitely a designer, maybe a change management consultant. So I can go in and pitch clients on what they really need, which is a complete transformation, to solve those problems that exist between the conception of the differentiating idea and the reality of what that brand really will not only look like, but how it will behave, how it will be manifested. Because the 99% or so that work in brand communications, it's actually one out of what I would say there are like 5 different dimensions where brands are manifested. Brands manifest through products, through services, through environments, through people and their behavior, and they manifest through communication. So if you're playing in that space, it's just one part, and most people who train, who teach, are definitely in that space. So with Original Minds, really what we're trying to do is to say, hey, if you're lonely or you haven't really made it work, but you're passionate about this, consider joining Original Minds. And what we provide is basically 3 different things. We provide a safe environment in the community with accountability and lots of training, tools, everything you need, so you can productize, you can position yourself, you can brand yourself, you can market yourself, you learn how to sell, to price, all those vital skills that it took me many years to learn myself. We provide all that for you. We do a 12-month membership at a time, which you can join for 30 days just as a trial before you decide. And that comes, like I mentioned, the Growth Accelerator is like helping you with your business. Typically, that means making sure you have a strong front-end offer, a great focus and a positioning, a smart business model, maybe a back-end offering. You'll learn how to sell, drive in leads. You'll know how to convert them. We have a great sales coach who helps build those skills and the confidence you need with that. You have a great delivery system. You learn how to collaborate, and all happens through a back-end system with a community. And what we also provide is the part to join Original Minds, the brand, which means you can leverage the credibility of other people. So right now, for example, I'm working with one of the top 20 companies in the United States because a member brought me in as their lead strategist. I would probably never even have gotten a meeting with that company, to be honest. I have no relationships with them. But I'm working with them now because I was brought in. And in the same way, you can find somebody within the community to collaborate, to co-pitch with them, to host a webinar together. We can provide different means of promoting you through our podcast, through our upcoming website, and other media channels. And the idea is that you can kind of piggyback on being part of a brand with credible people around the world. So you can go to a client and say, look, I can help you not only do that, but I can bring in all these other resources. I can bring in all these creative minds to look at your problem the way we should look at it from multiple perspectives. And you can, come up with lots of different offers because of the opportunity of being able to collaborate with all these people. So if that makes sense, if that sounds interesting to you, go to originalmindsmembers.com and read more and book a meeting, and we can talk about what this looks like. It's actually a very reasonably priced membership. Once you get in, we'll explain more. Once you jump on a call, we'll explain more how that works exactly. But it's really, I would say, designed to help with this problem that I talked about, this idea of being by yourself, having to do everything yourself, to brand yourself, market yourself, find clients, to sell, to deliver, and do all of that with limited resources, limited ideas, even limited energy. So we like to say, apart we're limited, together we're boundless. And this boundless model is designed to help you get more leverage and be able to accomplish more and build a business. And I like to think the lowest end is to make $20,000 a month as a brand consultant, but you could scale that to 7 figures if you want. And the investment is a fraction of what the upside is. So if you're interested, again, go to originalmindsmembers.com and check out the main offer, then book a call, and we'll talk more about that. Thanks so much for watching. And again, what I was arguing here, the state of brand consulting is it's reached a point where there are so many people. The industry is very saturated. We have a lot of people who don't have the competence yet, and they need training, they need the experience, and they can benefit from being part of a community of people around the world who support each other, who come together to collaborate, to learn, to share, and to work together. So this is kind of like co-working 2.0. It's not about providing a physical space. It's about actually working together for the benefit of everyone. So thanks so much for listening, and I hope you go check out originalmindsmembers.com, and we can take it from there. Thank you.